Welcome, NFL Commissioner League executives. I have a special message from Andrew Ford.
Shane Jeanette was drafted in 1992 by the Denver Broncos. He would go on to play for 10 years in the NFL, including 6 with the Atlanta Falcons. Shane committed suicide in 2009, just 6 years after retiring from the NFL. He was 38. Jeanette is one of many former NFL players, including Lance Briggs, Tony Dorsett, and Junior Seau, that have been found to be suffering from CTE postmortem. For those of you who don't know, chronic traumatic encephalopathy is a term used to describe brain degeneration likely caused by repeated head traumas. In a study done by Boston University, 110 out of 111 former NFL players were found to be suffering from CTE postmortem. For a company that makes more than $13 billion a year, the NFL has a responsibility to protect its players. When the NFL first launched its Play Smart, Play Safe initiative, it began with the promise of $100 million from the league and all 32 team owners into independent medical research. The league took that money and funded a study into horse jockeys using in-house medical researchers. The NFL needs to conduct research that is pertinent to football for the benefit of its players. Good news. The NFL does realize that CTE is a problem. The 2013 settlement that saw more than 4,500 former players receive over $700 million in aid is evidence that the NFL wants to help. That being said, the money was hard to obtain, and the settlement ultimately did not offer enough aid for the players. The NFL needs to make it a priority to protect players even after they retire. Now, there is stuff we can still do for current players. The NFL has done a good job implementing rule changes such as the use of helmet rule, which penalizes a player for lowering his helmet before he initiates contact with another player. One thing to consider would be making mouthpieces mandatory, as they're known to mitigate concussions. Currently, they're only optional. The NFL sets the precedent for all other leagues of football. From Pop Warner through college, they all look to the NFL as the example. That means the attitude and culture surrounding injuries in the NFL has to change. For years, players were told to toughen up and get back in the game. As league executives, there needs to be a precedent set that injuries, and especially head injuries, are to be taken seriously. The NFL is the largest sports organization in the world. That being said, they need to be first in the fight for player safety. With the ability to fund the research, the NFL should be experts in CTE and provide all their players with top-of-the-line safety equipment. Before any player steps on the field, he should know the risks associated with football. The average NFL player retires before the age of 28. That means they still have their whole life ahead of them. Their families want to spend life with them after football. Ask Haley, Berkeley, and Chris, the 2 daughters and wife of Shane Jeanette. No one should have to go through what the Jeanette family went through, losing a father and a husband.